let's understand what is the life cycle of a project. So the entire life cycle of a project at the top level is broken into 4 parts. That the project starts, you are organizing and preparing for the project, you are actually doing the project, and then you end the project. Now these are the 4 important project life cycles which are defined by every organization. When you are working on a project, you may say, I'm still planning for the project, right? I'm working on the project, it is just started, or we are ending the project. So these are the generally 4 life cycles that we work upon. But from a Pmbok perspective, there are 5 process groups. Now this is important. From here is where your actual PMP journey begins. Now there are 5 process groups which Pmbok states are: initiating. Initiating process is the process where your project begins. Planning. Planning is a process where you are planning how you are going to do your project. Please remember, there is a proper demarcation between all these process groups. There's a proper demarcation between all these process groups. There are no overlapping of process groups. You are either initiating your project, or you are either planning your project, or you're either executing the project. Executing means that the work has begun. A team of 5,000 people who have to make a flyover. That first person who reaches at the ground and puts the hammer there to start the work, you are in your execution phase. You are no more in the planning phase. Please understand, as a project manager, the day you complete your planning and the execution of the work begins, any change in that project after that has to go through a change control board. You as a project manager has the responsibility of your project to make changes, to work on the iteration is only and only till the time you are a part of the plannings group. The day you move from the planning to the execution group, your work is to monitor and control. There comes our 4th process group. What do you mean by monitoring? What do we mean by monitoring? Monitoring means what? Just looking, seeing, observing what is happening. That is what is monitoring. What do you mean by control? Control means you take an action. You monitor, you take an action. That is monitoring and controlling. When you see that your project is not going on track, are you going to only observe it? No. You are going to make changes to that. That is what is known as controlling. So monitoring and controlling is the 4th process group. And lastly is closing. So that does not mean that these 3 works sequentially. Your execution and monitoring and controlling are the 2 process groups that work parallelly. It is a 5-year-old project. Are you going to complete your project and then say, okay, it's been 5 years, now I want to see has the project been at par as per what I had planned? No, right? You will be planning and monitoring, you will be executing and monitoring and controlling the project as per the plan. And when you need to monitor and control is something that will be written in your planning process group. Don't get confused, guys. We are going to see all of them in quite detail. Just try to understand what the concept of the process groups are for now. So initiating is the process. So initiating is the process that you begin your project. This is the time when you take the hat, put it on your head, you are a project manager and you have a job. You have a job to complete your project. Now, how are you going to complete the project? Who are going to be the team members? It all depends as a part of the planning. Is when you start your planning. When you start your planning, you have to take care of everything. You have to identify. So you have identified your stakeholders in the initiating process. You have to ensure what the cost of the project is going to be, what is scope, what are the risks, what is the quality, in how much time you need to complete the project, and there are n number of 10 different knowledge areas. And that is the second key concept of PMP on which the entire Pmbok is based. Your 5 process groups, your 10 knowledge areas. Your 5 process groups, your 10 knowledge areas. And we are going to see all the knowledge areas in quite detail in the coming of videos. You can follow Learning with JD to understand all the process groups and knowledge areas, which will be taken up in the following process, in the following videos, right? So initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closing are the 5 process groups of the project life cycle.